Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy. Patreon subscriber John gave me a dealer's choice to test the post-ban world for Eternal Weekend, and I'm using it to once again tune my Reanimator list. What started as just seeing if Reanimator could still be viable in the post-ban world has become an ongoing series spanning over a month, 4 or 5 separate videos as I dial in on a list I'm happy with to try at Eternal Weekend Italy. Where we last left our hero, I had moved the main deck back to 6 monsters, up from 4, because I really want to be able to jam in game 1. I was missing some sort of mid-range thing to do in game 1, and by that I mean a creature with reasonable power and toughness and a useful ability attached to it. I chose to put in Brazen Borrower. Other things I considered were Emperor of Bones or Ledger Shredder. Katara, Waterbending Master. Some people are trying that, but that card reads to me more like Mercurial Spelldancer than it does like Psychic Frog, and I'm suspicious of playing a card where things have to go right before it starts doing anything that also is loose to Caracas, where the deck is already loose. So I've just played a trusty old Brazen Borrower in the main. I cut the 5th looting spell. I had 1 Careful Study still in the list as a residual from when the deck was much faster, but now it's a bit slower. 4 Tainted Indulgence are how I'm doing that. I cut the last Careful Study to make room for Brazen Borrower. That means Brazen Borrower can leave the sideboard. I had 2, which opened up a slot for Mystical Dispute. Mystical Dispute, very likely to cover over 80% of the matches I expect to play at Eternal Weekend. It comes in versus any control deck, any combo deck, any tempo deck. That basically leaves just colorless Ancient Tomb decks, where this card doesn't come in. Or like Death and Taxes. Pretty big spread where that one's useful. And I turned 1 Fatal Push. There were 4. I turned 1 into 1 Hydroblast. This still comes in versus Delver, which is where we most want 4x Fatal Push. But then you also get action versus Blood Moon, Broadside Bombardiers, Pyrogoyf, Burning Wish, Sneak Attack. Bunch of other places you can point this while still being for the matchup that the slot was originally designed to be for. Those are the subtle changes. Deck's still mostly intact, but I believe in the core shell. That's why I've played this deck so many times on the channel. And it's really just about tuning the flex slots. Here we go with round 4 of Eternal Weekend Tuning Reanimator. I'm on the play in round 1. I'm gonna mulligan this one. Opponent says, hello YouTube. Everyone say hi to Hodabert. Yeah, this hand just doesn't do enough. Even with 6 monsters and 2 surveils, this hand is just missing. If this swamp was a generic blue card for force, I'd consider it. If it was a cantrip, I'd definitely keep it, but we're just a little short here. Ugh, it's getting worse. We're going to 5, but I'm a combo deck. I can handle this. And here we go. This is the handle. I will keep and bottom Tamiyo, and it's probably Bitter Triumph. That is just it could be the other Tamiyo. In Bitter Triumph being a 2-for-1 is bad, but if I end up with a monster in my hand, it's good. Okay. And I'm weak to almost everything here. But this is the hand that Mold of 5 left me with. Opponent kept 7. Blue to Delta. Tamiyo, alright. We're going to touch butts. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so they're a tempo Tamiyo. And this Tamiyo can flip on their next upkeep if they save both of these baubles. That is a guaranteed flip. Okay, that is not the game plan. They can bauble me once if they have a land, then use their draw step clue bauble trigger. Oh wait, this is how this works. What am I even talking about? Okay, yeah, this is exactly how this works. Carry on, opponent, with doing exactly what I said you were going to do. All right, my Tamiyo makes a clue, and then Brainstorm. This is a really bad Brainstorm to get dazed, even worse if it's followed up with Wasteland. Well, look what's here. Okay, I'm going to put back Murktide Regent and Animate Dead. Flip my Tamiyo. I am not going to Wasteland my opponent. I need this mana to cast Bitter Triumph, which blows up their Tamiyo, who flips right now. Opponent's got 7 cards in hand. That's so many. My hand right now, if I get Thought Seized, fuck. That's what I didn't want to see. Now I'm in big trouble for a long time. And now I wish I had Wastelanded them. what does this game actually look like? I know I'm brainstorm locked. And this game probably looks like Wasteland you hope to tread water against this Netherglyph, but not my Tamiyo is going up 1 a turn and they're going up 2. Shit, that was really bad. Okay. Unfortunate. We are probably going to lose this game to that. And they had another land, which means I feel good about not wasting them. It would have been cutting some of my outs while not actually developing. All right, plus Tamiyo. Theirs goes up to 8. Mine gets attacked down to 6. This is one big draw to find a black source to target their Tamiyo with Bitter Triumph. They dumped a Force of Will. That might be because they already have one. It might just been to grow Netherglyph. Either way, it's bad news. Now my Tamiyo goes +0 per turn net. It goes +2, -2. Yeah, hitting land drops in a Wasteland pseudo mirror is not ideal. All right, I'm just going to concede. They're going to draw half their deck. They don't know that I'm Reanimator. They might think this is the pure mirror match. But the bad news for that is I'm probably boarding out a lot of that anyway. Strix is good here. Fatal Push is okay. Barrowglyph is good. Mystical Dispute is good. Brazen Borrower is good. The problem with juking fully is that they're built for this. I'm trying to juke into like 80-85% efficiency of Dimir Tempo, and my opponent is literally Dimir Tempo. Bad cards that definitely are going out include Force of Negation. I could try to jam on them here. Like if I just take the play, try to jam on them, then they pivot into Graveyard Hate for game 3. Like all they saw was Tamiyo, Brainstorm, die to Wasteland. I think this runway is clear if I want to take it. I think Strix is probably good enough to just be in the deck no matter what, if I can find a slot for it. I could probably cut one monster to hedge, but if I'm trying to dunk on them, that might not be a smart hedge. And Strix is poor against Orcish Bowmaster. Yeah, I think I'm just going to change my interaction a little bit and still try to push this game like it's a game 1. And maybe they even boarded out a bunch of their forces thinking that it's a mirror match. All right, I'm going to keep this. Tamiyo plays. And I might fetch Basic Island, which might be a mistake, but surviving the Wasteland subgame is step 1. And Island does cast all the cards in my hand, at least for now. Fatal Push, all right. Not ideal. All right, can I flip it back on my opponent? That was the wrong card. All right, here we go. Wasteland you, then replay the Tamiyo. Is it my turn to get a cheese game? Verdant Catacombs. We're not cheesed yet. Underground Sea. Your own Tamiyo. I don't think I'm going to force this because Brazen Borrower's in my hand. I could reset that. I am trying to do other stuff here. This is where the fetching the basic burns me. I can dispute a cantrip. Yeah, they're cracking clues and I'm not. Just coming down to who has mana and who doesn't. 2 games in a row kind of stinks. All right, I'm going to dispute this Brainstorm. If it slows them down, it's good. If it makes their hand worse, it's good. You asshole. All right, sure. You got me. I was in on Brazen Borrower to battle this Tamiyo anyway. We'll see if this ends up working out. Mostly just want to draw a land here. That's not a land, but it does play. All right, attack my opponent. If they have counter spells, I expect to see them here on this Brainstorm. This is an important card for a variety of reasons. I'm missing land drops, and this represents the Tamiyo. Okay, kind of bad. Lots of black cards here. Wasteland doesn't keep me playing the game. What do I want to protect? I think I want to protect Animate Dead and Brazen Borrower. Like if I get Thoughtseized here is what I'm thinking. I probably have to Brazen Borrower next turn. So I could hide the Ponder 2 down. Does that even make sense? No, it's Animate Dead and Brazen Borrower down. Tamiyo flips. I can't afford to waste again. I would have enjoyed Thoughtseizing here, but we drew the 2 Wastelands. 19 is more lands than this deck really needs to function, and I'm only playing 2 wastelands instead of 3 or 4, so I can cast my spells, and that's just not been how it's worked out for me here. Tamio up to 6. I don't have to bounce it till it's at 8. I could spend a turn figuring this out, though they are representing Orcish Bowmaster right now. Bitter Triumph, paying 3 life. All right, I'm going to force pitching Atraxa on this. It's worth it. Sucks to lose Atraxa, but this is the showdown. Forcing me back. All right, well, my Tamio is dead, and theirs will just be in their hand. Okay, well, that happens. Drawing Brazen Borrower. Now I'm playing Ponder. Looking for lands, trying to get rid of the Animate Dead. All this sucks. Shuffle. Another Ponder. Okay, pass the turn. The bet here is that they're going to try to go to the top with Tamio. If I had found a land, then I would have still been representing Brazen Borrower here, and the turn is the same except better. If they have Thoughtseize or Force of Will to back up protecting Tamio here, then I'm probably just in the garbage. All right, a land is still great. If I could Thoughtseize them before borrowing them. All right, now real decisions. Thoughtseize to make sure Tamio doesn't pop, or Thoughtseize the Tamio after popping. I'm going to make sure it doesn't pop. Basic Swamp, Thoughtseize you. If they play Bowmaster, I'm going to Brazen Borrow. All right. This now actually opens up Daze, but I'm going to push. Like, Daze is the only card I care about here. They just gave up on Force. There we go. And now I actually get the Tamio. Fuck! All right, well, you got me. The hand was just 2 Tamios. All right. Tamio superiority in a game where my opponent is better at that than I am. And I did not bring in my Fatal Pushes because I was planning on jamming, but that has not worked out. And now I have to just draw cards into this Orcish Bowmaster. And this clue is still sitting here from the earth. Come on! Oh my god! All right. I mean, this is why I chose to play Dimir Tempo over Dimir Reanimator at the American Eternal Weekend. Because your cards are all just good. I'm over here trying to navigate like an Atraxa in my hand and a Tainted Indulgence and whatever, and my opponent is just every card is good because that's how the deck is built. Yeah, wasting my waste makes sense there. I'm just trying to do anything with any amount of mana that I don't have. Got a Ponder. Okay, I actually will take Verdant Catacombs here. It can crack a clue or it can surveil. And if my game plan at this point is high rolling like surveilling a monster to the bin, then top decking Reanimate, I'll take it. We do what we got to do. Opponent's just buying back Force of Negation. That makes my job harder. All right, I am going to go for the Surveil. I'm down to 7. Well, we high rolled. Atraxa in the graveyard. Reanimate doesn't work anymore. Animate Dead still does. Murktide Regent. You're saying there's a chance. All right, a full-size Murktide Regent. Their hand is Force of Negation. Did we find the pivot? Oh god, they're spending mana. I hope this is just cracking a clue and not playing Brazen Borrower from hand. All right. I did not get my Theft Pettily taken. Tamio's back up to 3. I can kill that this turn. Bauble's fine. Tamio can buy back Bitter Triumph next turn, which means I need a plan here. Any blue card is okay. Wasteland, that's a lot of those. Like, they're a deck where that's their plan, and I'm not. Ponder. Hoping to see a shuffle here. Didn't shuffle. There's no way that could possibly be good. Yep, there's Petty Theft. That is probably... so they probably have like 1 or 2 of those, and then their own Murktides, probably 2 of those. But it is now game over. All right. Yeah, they're just better at doing the thing I was trying to do, where I like my thing didn't come together game 1 at all, which means they were a deck and I wasn't. And then game 2, I tried to jam on them, and that just didn't work out. And every one of their cards was good. We also saw just kind of run perfects for 4 consecutive draws, but all their cards, like their deck's designed to do this, where my deck does require multiple pieces to come together. Also, they were just better at having Tamio than me because they had removal in their deck and I didn't. Okay. Important notes. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the play in round 2. I have Brainstorm plus Fetch Land. So I can go turn 1 Tamiyo, turn 2 Fetch in response to Surveil trigger Brainstorm, dump the Atraxa, flip the Tamiyo. Short of this force being of negation instead of will, this is everything I want to be doing in life. Opponent kept 7. Scalding Tarn. Island Ponder. Okay. I drew a Ponder of my own. I'm going to attack with Tamiyo and then do the trick. Fetch. Sewer. In response, Brainstorm. I will put back Murktide Regent and Atraxa. Murktide is the follow-up here. I don't have a Reanimate yet. So I actually probably want to put back Ponder and Atraxa. Right, Tamiyo flips. We ban Atraxa. Plus Tamiyo. And pass the turn. Now I'm digging for a Reanimate before I'm dead. Though I am reasonably happy to just cast this Murktide Regent if the game becomes about something else. Brainstorm. Underground Sea. I hope they don't reanimate me here. Dark Ritual. All right, if this is Doomsday, 2 Dark Rituals. The One Ring. All right. Force that pitching Tainted Indulgence. I still think this might be Doomsday. The double Dark Ritual was to play around Daze, a card that I don't play, which is awesome. All right, Ponder, we're looking for Reanimate. I found Force of Will and Land. Am I willing to slow this down a little bit? I think I am. This deck has more than one gear to it. I'm going to plus Tamiyo and pass. They are clearly a combo deck. There's a Force of Will on top of my deck that I can crack my clue to draw, which means that if they have something like Thoughtseize plus Go for it, I'm still protected. Ponder, Ponder. There are Doomsday decks with the One Ring in them. There are also Dimir Show and Tell decks that could play the One Ring. Didn't shuffle that Ponder. It shuffled the first Ponder, didn't shuffle the second, then missed a land drop. Their hand must be good for next turn. I would like to Brainstorm here. This is a lot of looks at Reanimate or Thoughtseize. I'll take a Thoughtseize too. Definitely putting back Archon of Cruelty, and then I have to decide whether I want to... No, I'm going to put back the land with it, because I have this Tamiyo that has them in check, so just keeping blue cards in my hand, there's no reason to develop Murktide Regent here. Okay, force pitching Waterlogged Teachings. Weird. Okay, like I could force back and get my Thoughtseize through. I'm actually into that. Force pitching Tamiyo, because I still have force for their turn. All right, now they're conceding before I know what's going on. Huh. These are cards. The One Ring and Waterlogged Teachings are both payoffs for Dimir Cloudpost, but Dark Ritual is not in that deck, so I don't actually know what I'm up against right now. I saw the One Ring, though, so I'm going to bring in Consign to Memory. Mystical Dispute, because I saw blue cards. It really is that simple. I probably don't want Bitter Triumph. Tamiyo is the one mystery card that Bitter Triumph could insulate me against. I think I still want to be mostly my combo package until I get convinced otherwise. I could back off it a little. Like, Atraxa is more important versus combo decks than Archon is. Unless they are Show and Tell, then I'd probably rather have Archon. But I don't have the information to make that decision. Should my Force of Negation be in too? Probably. All right, where do I start finding cuts now? Is it in Animate Dead? Kind of looking at Wasteland as an option. If they're not a Wasteland deck, they're probably also not a deck with... Though, I mean, I saw a bunch of shit that goes in the Cloudpost deck, so maybe Wasteland's my best card, and I just saw a weird rollout of their deck, but Dark Ritual is deeply confusing. All right, I'm cutting a Wasteland, and if they play Cloudpost this game, you got me, but I'm still trying to just jam. Their deck full of Dark Rituals means I don't have to play around Chalice of the Void. Like, even if I suspect this is some kind of Lutron hybrid something or other, they definitely are not going to be a Chalice of the Void deck. Okay, I'll keep this. It doesn't interact on turn 0, but it does have Mystical Dispute up starting turn 1. Grafdigger's Cage. Got me. I have Petty Theft for that. Okay. Now I have a variety of options available to me. I could play Tamiyo, so I will. I'm just going to play Tamiyo. The other option was leave up double counter. I also could have wasted them. I'm going to settle for 1 counter. Fatal Push, I accept. Underground Sea, Ponder, I accept that as well. Shuffle the library. I think this is a good spot for a Wasteland. I boarded 1 out. That's the only one in the deck. If they're over there shuffling Ponders, let's try to hobble them a little bit. All right, that was not the problem. Fair enough. I'm going to play Swamp to cast Tainted Indulgence rather than go for a Surveil Land here. Surveil Land from the op. Ancient Tomb, okay. That's not surprising given the cards that we saw, but what is this? Is this a show and tell deck? What are we actually powering into? And if they're a show and tell deck, it would not make a lot of sense for them to have Grafdigger's Cage, because then my monsters just stay in my hand. All right, well, that card sucks. Bowmaster's in. I'll discard Reanimate here, as my life total is likely to be under duress by the time Grafdigger's Cage happens, if Grafdigger's Cage happens at all. A Brainstorm, that's the perfect draw after just getting smoked by Bowmaster. All right, I'm still going to Ponder. Force of Will, Tainted Indulgence, all this sucks. Shuffle. Tamiyo, that's a card that is at least a card. Fetch. Play Tamiyo. And pass. Now, one of the cards that's come in and out of my sideboard is up to 2 copies of Orcish Bowmaster. And I don't like Orcish Bowmaster versus the meta, but I do like Orcish Bowmaster versus Orcish Bowmaster. Another Bowmaster. All right. This does not kill Tamiyo. It does deal an extra damage to me and makes my hand even worse. Well, there's the one card that really matters here. I do only have the one from the main deck in. What does this turn cycle look like? I think I'm going to block Orc Army with Tamiyo, fetch, in response to the Surveil, Brainstorm, and try to high roll a situation where I am both not dead and I could clear Grafdigger's Cage and go off all at once. Stop it. I need all my cards. I'm going to force a negation that pitching Mystical Dispute, forcing me back. Okay, so now I have to Petty Theft or Tamiyo's going to flip and be at 2 loyalty, where Bowmaster can just kill her. So this doesn't actually solve my problems. I don't know that I can win this game anymore. That force pitched Omniscient, so this is an Omnishow deck. If I fetch, I'm at 7 and taking 7, so like that's not even a thing. Okay, I'm going to cast Brainstorm. Get rid of Animate Dead and Polluted Delta. There's 2 Bowmasters in play, so I'm actually just Omega Dead here. I was playing like there was one. There was actually not a reasonable out here. The out is whether they know how Tamiyo works or not. And they have targeted my face with all of these, so it seems they know how Tamiyo works. That's unlucky for me. Okay. Now, do they attack me with everything, or do they put any effort on Tamiyo? And with me being at exactly 2, they made the right decision. Okay. All right, that was tough. Okay, I am going to get away from... Like, I want to be anti-combo here. Yeah, I just got completely punked by a single Grafdigger's Cage. I could bring in Brazen Borrower number 2 and otherwise keep it intact here. Them being a show and tell Omniscience deck means Atraxa and Archon are pretty spicy. Can I just be Dimir Tempo and collapse their game plan? What does that look like? That would look like Animate Dead out, Atraxa's out. I could bring in Fatal Pushes versus their Bowmasters if they want to get small against me. I do have a lot of counterspells and Thoughtseizes. Do I want any Archons left to maybe backdoor a Reanimate, but also that could be good? Or if I'm keeping a monster in, it should be Atraxa because it's blue. This is not right. I need 2 more cuts here if I'm doing all this. So what does this look like? I could go -1 Reanimate Wait, where did my fatal pushes go? I made those piles insane. I lost my mind for a second there. Okay, I still don't want Wasteland. I would like a fatal push. Do I want another push? That would probably come at another reanimate. I have 7 forces in my deck and 4 ways to loot. I don't think having 2 attracts and 2 reanimates that embarrassing. And then I'm hedged against their fair plan. I think I'm already good against their unfair plan. I saw the 1 ring, but consigned to memory, it seems, is not actually what they're up to. I don't think I want my Strix in here. I could get my Wasteland back now that I'm trying to cast Barrogoyf. Okay, that's 2 pushes. The whole juke. Oh, this isn't right. All right, 3 Barrogoyfs. Okay, that was a wild ride. But now I have more information about their deck. I'm partially juked. I'm going to keep. And I'm going to play Tamiyo to start the game. Opponent mulled to 6. Let's see if that 6 has Fatal Push in it. Scalding Tarn. Thoughtseize. All right. This probably takes Brainstorm. If they're on a shove hand, and they get me back going the other way, if their hand is just like Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell, Omniscience, then they're in great shape. If they take Reanimate, I don't care. If they take Barrogoyf, I can reanimate it. Okay, I'm looking for big draws here. Ponder. Let's start with that. Any of my forces are good. Ugh, all the cards under the force are not good, though. I think I have to shuffle this. Like, without a land here, this hand just doesn't do anything. Okay, I found the land. My opponent... There is 1 unknown card in my hand once I play this Underground Sea, which means if they have Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell, they know they're only playing around, like, Daze, Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm kind of stuff. Well, we're halfway there. We're all the way there. Guess I'll put in Barrogoyf and hope I'm not dead. I'm dead. Grafdigger's Cage. All right, I mean, if this is what they got, Brazen Borrower can clear the Omniscience. If they have Force backup, that's not ideal. Barrogoyf hits. Yes, use the ability. All right, Petty Theft. And their forces are free anytime. There's no playing around negation or will here. Yeah, Force of Will. Okay, I guess I should have done that pre-combat. Would have been 1 more damage. And I'm hoping to fade any action spell. Verdant Catacombs represents a Surveil land. That's 2 looks next turn. Shit, I'm dead! Ugh! Okay. Well, they rolled the dice, and they won. They won the roll. Waterlogged Teachings, the best they could do is Brainstorm. There's no, like, Cunning Wish in here. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. I'm still... Look, they're still looking at a lot of cards, though. Oh my goodness, they're passing the turn. I don't have a lot of faith that that means much, but if I'm literally still playing the game, it's not over till it's over. There's another Brazen Borrower in my deck if Barrogoyf can mill it over. Nope, hit a bunch of things that are not anything. And I'm going to draw a card with a clue. All right, that is the best card I could draw. Moment of Truth. Do they have action and can they back it up? Because now I have Force of Will. If they have Emrakul, it doesn't matter. They dumped Underground Sea. This is a random draw. They have a card that didn't kill me last turn, but it could have been a counterspell. All right, I'm getting another turn. Attacking. All right, you're at 3. I would like to use Barrogoyf. Incredibly missed on a creature on all of those. That's a mill 12 without a creature. I could hit Thoughtseize right now if I crack a clue. All right, I am going to crack 1 clue looking for exactly Thoughtseize. Yo, this is why we cast cards. Thoughtseize you. All right, I took the backup. Their hand is Ancient Tomb. They are dead on board. I actually can even race Emrakul because I have 6 permanents plus Barrogoyf. All right, they're casting Show and Tell from hand. You can have that. I'll put in the other Barrogoyf. We got the GGs. All right, we ran afoul of the Omni Show fail rate. It's honestly wild to me that there was nothing better to get than Brainstorm with that Waterlogged Teachings. Yeah, I thought for sure I was dead. I don't know if that's a deck building issue or they sideboarded it in a way where this makes sense to be the case, but I feel like I should have died to that and just didn't. Cool. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online.
Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep this incredible hand, and I think my opponent is the person who's been playing Bug Aloran a lot lately, or 4-color Aloran in my videos a lot lately. I say that with like 90% confidence that's who this is, and also with the awareness that players are allowed to play different decks sometimes if they want. Okay, I have the big send here, the Flip Tamiyo, Entomb, Atraxa double combo turn 2 shenanigans. And I drew a blue card to back it up with Force. I am going to fetch for Undercity Sewer, hold priority, cast Brainstorm, draw Reanimate, put back Verdant Catacombs and Atraxa, flip Tamiyo, mill Atraxa. That feels so good. All the games where I'm scrambling to try to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, or awkward monsters in my hands, you have to balance them against these nut draws. And this turn, my opponent has to beat Force of Will double Reanimate. Like, I can Reanimate if it gets countered. I just buy it back with Tamiyo. Like, Thoughtseize doesn't break this up. Cabal Therapy doesn't break this up. They are a Nick Fit deck, if this is the build they've been on. Like, if they name Force of Will, which is a common name, and they did, and then play Veteran Explorer, Flashback Cabal Therapy, take Reanimate, I tutor 2 basics out of my deck. I crack a clue. Tamiyo gets back Reanimate. I Cabal Therapy. This does not beat Tamiyo by itself, but having double discard spell is what it would take to at least remove 1 layer of protection. All right, I will go to my turn, draw Verdant Catacombs. I'm going to play Polluted Delta first, and then I'm going to return Reanimate to my hand with Tamiyo. I played Delta first to give myself an out if they have Endurance. Okay, Reanimate targeting Atraxa. Are we back in? Just like that. Man, Tamiyo's a fair card. Force of Will to my hand. Murktide Regent. Thoughtseize. Wasteland. Pretty good. Done. Thoughtseize, yeah. Now I wish I hadn't played my land, but, you know, you play into one thing, you play around another. Okay, Force but no blue card. Aloran over there. I don't think I care about that. Zenith. Is it Zenith that I care about? Yeah, I think it's Zenith. All right, Zenith is gone. And the wisdom here is you can't Abrupt Decay Atraxa. If you draw mana, then you didn't draw a blue card for Force. If you don't draw mana, you can't cast Aloran anyway. I'm holding Wasteland, which will take you off Aloran. Tamiyo was already worth multiple cards of value, so I don't care if she gets Abrupt Decayed. And anything that I can't predict from seeing these 4 cards means I know what they did draw. They said they thought this was a show and tell deck. Well, I did play that the other day. It's Reanimate now. It might still be a show and tell deck out of the sideboard. You don't know. That's the thing people do. Show and tell versus Aloran is tricky because if I put in show and tell, they put in Aloran, they could just combo over the top. There's the island. All right, I'm going to Surveil in the end step. Keep the velocity going. Ponder, I like it. Plus Tamiyo while that still does anything. I'm going to waste Bayou. Taking them off any green makes the Aloran even farther away. This also takes out the Abrupt Decay. Beastorm in response. I think I would prefer to know that my opponent's hand doesn't have any useful cards in it. I'm going to force pitching Tamiyo. And now Abrupt Decay can go after my clue or my Tamiyo. It's got to be Tamiyo. It's just cost of doing business. That's handled. That's gone. Attack you for 7. And put you dead on board with 2 blank pieces of cardboard in your hand. Go. Something like Brazen Borrower would buy them a turn, but then they just die on the next turn. Brainstorm. Yeah, okay. Solid. Just a more focused combo deck than my opponent is. All right, how do I want to handle this? They saw the juice game 1. I could pivot. Fair strategies are historically not great versus the Cardinal Lauren, though. They have a Green Sun Zenith package that could get a toolbox of creatures that could mess me up. Fatal Push can hit their kind of fair stuff that they do, which isn't... I don't know. Do I just not sideboard here? No changes, back in. I don't think it's going to be no changes. I want at least Brazen Borrower in case they do something like Mull to 5 have Leyline Binding, or Leyline of the Void, which you got to be able to punish those hands somehow. Force of Negation counters the Allurin, but not... Alright, hits Green Sun Zenith as well. Alright, Allurin and Green Sun Zenith. That's a lot of targets for that I care about. I could go minus an Archon, minus an Animate Dead, plus Mystical Dispute, plus 1... Or where's that? Brazen Borrower? That's what I want. Mystical Dispute, Brazen Borrower. That just backs off the jam a little bit in case they have hate, but I'm still largely functional. Okay. I'm going to stay largely functional until they show me how much and what hate they're playing. I'm going to mulligan this hand. Mulligan, opponent kept 7. All right, this one is better. I'll keep and put Undercity Sewer to the bottom. This is a quick Atraxa with Disruption. Opponent has Underground Sea Pass. I think I want to spend a turn thoughts using them. I got to know what's going on over there. Brainstorm. They don't want me to know what's going on over there. Cabal Therapy, Orcish Bowmaster, Uro. I'm actually going to take Bowmaster because Bowmaster is also Cabal Therapy here. Therapy, they'd have to be in their sniper bag to name... I mean, Reanimate is probably the third card they name after Force of Will and Brainstorm here. That would be my guess. But Therapy gamers, real ones know. Okay, well, here's my setup. Pass the turn. I was going to play Ponder and Sewer this turn, but now I have the whole line to Atraxa ready. Forest deployed. They could play Uro plus Cabal Therapy this turn. If they Therapy first, then they don't get Uro. The hand is very different than the last time I saw it. A Tundra. Uro's in. Bayou's in. Is it time for that Therapy? No, it is not. Okay. End step, Indulgence. Really hope I see Force of Will off this. Indulging. Discard Atraxa. Thoughtseize going to have to do here. I get got by a proactive surgical or endurance kind of thing, but I'm good versus a counter spell. Oh wow, their hand's just their own combo. All right. Well, I'll take the Allurin. I'll reanimate Atraxa. Still have my land drop available. Here we've got Force of Will, Bloodstained Mire. Do I want to Thoughtseize them again? Tamiyo is in my hand, and then I could set up the next reanimate. I could even reanimate their Bowmaster right now. Or I could Thoughtseize the Recruiter out of their hand. Yeah, I think I would rather Thoughtseize them. Right, Thoughtseize the Recruiter. That makes sure that Allurin off the top doesn't win the game. And Cabal Therapy can hit. They know Force of Will and Tamiyo are in my hand. So Blind Therapy plays. They can also just cast Uro out of the graveyard. They can actually do both of those things. If there is a Karakas in the deck that they can find their way to, I'm in a little bit of trouble. All right, I've been therapized. Force of Will is probably my guess for the target here. Yep. Force is gone. Shields are down. I hope Uro is the best thing they can do. There's Savannah. Blue, blue, green, green. Those are the magic words. Uro could even therapy me again if they value disrupting me more than having a 6/6 in play. Like if their hand right now is Allurin plus Recruiter, they might actually therapy me again. Okay, that's not the game we're playing. Attack with Atraxa. That part's happening. Tamiyo, Brainstorm, a bunch of shit. All right, well, that's not good. I'll put back Swamp and Sewer. Tamiyo flips. Plus, I can't take them off double green. I can Ponder looking for Force or Thoughtseize. None of the above. Do I want this? No, I'm going to shuffle. Okay, the shields are actually down here. if they have Ascend, if they can clear Atraxa through any means, like Karakas, Brazen Borrower, Swords of Plowshares, any of that, and then attack Tamiyo with Uro, I'm actually behind and in a lot of trouble. All right, going for the therapy. Does this mean they have the win? They could have drawn a card before doing this at the expense of giving me 7 life and chose to just do this now. That feels like they have enough cards. Yep, named Force of Will. All right, am I getting allured? Oh my god, it's happening. All right, what's the follow-up? I hope it's not. Oh my god, these are the 2 cards I thought seizes 1 turn ago. Ugh. Well, I could have played around this by not playing that Ponder. I could have Brazen borrowed the Allurin in response to the Recruiter the first time. All right, well, those were the hot rips. That's why you play a deck with a combo in it. Sweet game. I don't think I want to change anything here. Man, Cabal Therapy is a beating. A Consign to Memory hitting a Recruiter trigger is not nothing. Hitting a... If the Nick Fit part of the deck does kick in, hitting a Veteran Explorer trigger is not nothing. I still think dunking on them is the way to go. Yeah, I'm just going again. Same shit, different toilet. Yeah, Cabal Therapy is a powerful weapon. The no attack with the Uro was so savage. They're just like, yeah, I already have every card I need. All right, I will keep this and lead on the Mighty Tamiyo. Land go from opponent. Underground Sea for me. I'm going to attack. And I think I'm just going to draw cards this time. I do have to respect the existence of Orcish Bowmaster. Drawing 1 extra card doesn't kill Tamiyo, that's okay. If I can take a posture like I'm not desperate and I'm not scared, then we might see like Cabal Therapy naming Force of Will here or something, which I'm into. Baleful Strix. Well, that cooks everything I'm trying to do. I will draw a card in response. All right. Now Brainstorm is an Archon. Force of Negation. Okay, I'm gonna play Polluted Delta, and I'm gonna pass the turn. Stonewalled by the mighty Baleful Strix. Cabal Therapy resolves. They'd have to be a sniper to name Force of Negation in Reanimate. Might be named. I obviously don't have Brainstorm or I would have cast it. Tainted Indulgence. That was a good name too. Not what I got though. I would have cast that too. That would have flipped Tamiyo and potentially set up a combo. So actually, yeah, that was actually not a good name for that reason. Like, that's the same reason you don't name Brainstorm there. It's just so clear to flip my Tamiyo if I can in that spot, and I didn't do it. Sewer. B-Storm. Ding, 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 ding. All right, so this is everything. I'm going to attack with Tamiyo. I'm going to cast Brainstorm. I'm going to put Underground Sea, Archon of Cruelty on top of the deck. Undercity Sewer, dumps, Archon, and they need Surgical Extraction to beat me here because I have 2 Reanimates. Like, they have to interact with my graveyard, not with the spell Reanimate. Okay, we're just in there. That's surprising. They could Veil of Summer now, which stops the Archon trigger and they draw a card. Okay, just none of the above. I could reanimate their Baleful Strix to draw another card here. I don't think that helps me. No, with Bitter Triumph in my hand, I think I would rather keep my options open. And if they just go land Allurin Force of Will, they beat the Force of Negation I'm holding. If they play Carpet of Flowers, that's fucking insane. All right, does this beat me? Well, I can't interact with it, so go ahead. This can name Force of Negation, but I can crack a clue along the way. Veteran Explorer confirm, though. I do have a Swamp in my deck. This also unlocks Bitter Triumph, but, I mean, Allurin could happen right now. Yeah, Force of Negation named. Am I dead? Okay, the options here are crack the clue and hope that that hits exactly Force, or Bitter Triumph the first creature, but that doesn't work because Recruiter can get a second Recruiter, and then the third one gets Arctic Merfolk and nothing matters anymore. So if I kill the Arctic Merfolk, how does this work? All right, I think I'm fucked, so I'm gonna hope that the pile isn't that good. Okay, Recruiter can get Recruiter. Recruit, Recruit. If there's a second Merfolk in the deck, I could be in trouble here. So how do we do this? We play... The kicker of Arctic Merfolk is bounce a creature. Like, that's part of the cost. It's not a target. So if they get Merfolk, play it, Recruiter goes to the hand as a cost, then they recruit in response to this to get Cavern Harpy. Yeah, that's the line. Yeah, I'm just getting out-comboed by a Lauren on the back of Cabal Therapy and Veteran Explorer. It actually took every piece of that puzzle. That was sweet. Okay, so now they get Cavern Harpy. They play Cavern Harpy. It's in play when Arctic Merfolk resolves, and then there's no window for me to do what I need to do with Bitter Triumph. Or, wait, where is the window? There might still be a window. All right, Merfolk resolves. Okay. The Bitter Triumph actually did get them. All right, but I can't ever do anything is the problem. Okay, I'm going to start by attacking with Archon. And just more cards in my hand is more options for me. All right, Archon trigger, a card out of their hand, and a card in mine. Anything could matter here. This is where I wish I had some consigned memories in the deck, but I don't. And I wish I could draw a card that's not a land, but that's impossible. Literally can't be done. I could have flashed Nintendo in the end step, but I kind of like that as a blue card. All right, I could reanimate Strix as a redraw. I think I like starting there. Or Recruiter the Guard. Recruiter the Guard could get... Is this toughness? No. Or power. Yeah, it is toughness. All right, I could recruit for a Brazen Borrower, bounce a Lauren. All right, I'm going to play my land first because I need as much mana as possible for this line. Reanimate Recruiter of the Guard. Tutor Brazen Borrower. Petty Theft. Targeting Alurin. Or I could do this anytime, right? Like if they go for it. All right, I'm going to minus on Force of Negation and then pass. Because if they put Recruiter on the stack, I can bounce Alurin in response to that. And then that's another part of the chain I can break up. Okay. Yeah, pass. This is closer than I thought it would be. And this is why I didn't flash in the Tameo. It is my blue card right now. We're tapping actual mana. A redundant Alurin. Okay, so that leaves me in the same spot. All right, this is just the same spot, except now I can't bounce Alurin as a line. Or they had just tapped 4 mana. What am I doing? I should have forced that. Oh my god. I'm out of my mind. Yeah, in my head, they were just like, yeah, they could just play another Alurin, but that's not even true. If I counter this one, then I could still... All right, that was actually a huge punt. Okay, they have to do something before Archon attacks because it will kill them. All right, upkeep Brainstorm. This gets around... This could get around a lot of things. If I force it, I only have 2 mana up, but the Petty Theft doesn't matter anymore. Killing Arctic Merfolk is what matters. All right, I'm going to Force of Negation this. Yeah, killing Arctic Merfolk is what matters here. Can I get to my main phase and hit my land drop? Okay, land drop, slam it into play, plus Tameo, move to combat. All right, they got to do something now. And with the Archon trigger, if the only card left in their hand is Recruiter, so I would have to respond to Cavern Harpy then? Okay, the Recruiter's fine. They tutor something, and I have to respond to this. Because they are dead. Like, there's no more game to play here. Both the cards in their hand have to be relevant creatures. If their deck had a second bounce card in it, like if there was a second Arctic Merfolk or a Dreamstalker or something, they could have built in Unbreakable chain. And I don't know if their chain just doesn't support that with all the packages they're trying to have, or what. Okay. Strix is an interesting one. Okay, you flash that in. Archon will still resolve before a block is declared. And I can't Petty Theft the Strix because they could just replay it with Alurin. Okay. So they get a trade here, but the problems that they were facing are still the problems. They're at 4. Okay, I have another force they don't know about. I can flash in Brazen Borrower to attack for 4 next turn, and then Tameo can minus target reanimate Archon. I have a lethal line here. Arctic Merfolk attacking Tamiyo for 1. I will chump that with their Recruiter. That's happening. End step, play Brazen Borrower without paying its mana cost from Aloran. Now it's my turn. Still refusing to tap mana, refusing to do anything. I'm gonna reanimate Archon before combat here. That'll soften up their hand and give me more information to go off of. Reanimate Archon. I'm actually going to play Wasteland first because every mana could matter. I'm trying to hardcast a Force of Negation, might need to crack a clue. There's a lot of stuff going on here. If they have Endurance right now, that would weirdly be perfect. I just saw the life total change. They have Force blue card, but if they force, then Brazen Borrower kills them. Are we going to have a set where they beat my combo and then I beat theirs? Yeah, that was tight on every measure. They were chatting a little bit in the chat. They basically, their hand is Force Tamiyo. They were trying to get to force blue card in their hand to back up their Cavern Harpy before they ran out of gas. So the high roll of the Strix last turn to actually deal with the Archon, because the discard mattered a lot this game, in addition to obviously the damage output. That was awesome. All right, this was one of the better matches. Man, when people are doing fun, interesting decks in Legacy, games are so much better. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. I'm on the draw in round 4. I have a Force and an Indulgence. I'm going to keep this. Again, Wasteland makes it hard to cast my spells, but I am fully aware of that. The only thing I could do about that is move one of the Wastelands to the sideboard and play another land. I don't like that, though. I also don't like that I'm against Delver, and that means I'm probably not interested in fetching a Surveil land. Okay, now I'm going to play on basics. Basic Island. I'm actually going to take the Cheese Wasteland here, because I want to play around Daze with the Ponder, and if they don't have an island, they can't Daze me. All right, here we go. These are all the cards. 1, 2, 3. Draw the land, pass. All right, Wasteland confirmed. Play Misty Rainforest, pass. I'm drawing a land, which is wastable, which is great because Misty Rainforest can't get swamp. There's Delver. Okay, I'm drawing Undercity Sewer. Just gotta fire it. Yep, there's my basic swamp. Leave that on top. Control Gaming. Delver does not flip. Quarry Steel Cutter. No, thank you. I will pitch Atraxa to counter that. That's one of the few spells worth countering in this matchup. Now I have a really interesting choice. I could just play around Daze next turn. I think I'll just do that. Do I want to Triumph or Indulgence? I think I'd like to Indulge. If we hit here, it's so good. And we hit. All right, discard Archon. Basic Swamp. Get after it. And we're in there. Kills the Delver. Lightning Helix your face. I am not clear of Unholy Heat or anything like that. I don't really care about their creatures. Archon just beats Murktide straight up. Unholy Heat is online. Ponders, digging. They clearly don't have a land. Shuffled their library. Well, they hit the red. Did they hit heat and red? All right, it's a Brainstorm. One of these crazy Brainstorms. Why is Endwalker Brainstorm? Somebody please tell me, with the Final Fantasy lore, Endwalker. That sounds like a title. That sounds like the title a being would hold. What does that have to do with looking at 3 cards and putting 2 back on top? I assume Endwalkers have some sort of psychic ability, and that's what that's referring to, but still, wouldn't that be a person? Not an ability? No, speaking of which, I draw the card I would have liked to fetch at some point. It's fine. Archon getting a big crash here. Brainstorm. My own Endwalker. Alright. They let Archon hit them, then conceded. In case I forgot to attack, that's fair. Alright, this is one of the matchups I'm worried about. Let's do this big sideboard juke featuring Mystical Dispute and Hydroblast, which were not in my deck previously. The monsters, goodbye. Force of Negation, goodbye. Animate Dead, goodbye. And I could go 1 Thoughtseize or 1 Reanimate here. I could cut a Force of Will, actually. But Force protecting my Barrowglaive pretty nice. Would I rather have more Reanimates? Oh, I get Engineered Explosives as well. Yeah, I'm really heavy for this. So I was going to say, do I want to cut a Force or Reanimate? And it turns out the answer is both. All right. Fat stack of cards coming in. 12 card, pivot. Don't like 1-landers. I'm going to mulligan this. That's just one of the ways that I lose, is that. I'll put Reanimate. Yeah, Bitter Triumph's a removal spell. Actually, Tainted Indulgence might be worse than Reanimate. I'm going to put Indulgence on the bottom, because if I play the Strix and they interact with it, reanimating it could be backbreaking. Because it's not trivial for this deck to answer a Baleful Strix in any kind of smooth capacity. Wasteland. Do I want to waste from behind? Do I want to roll those dice? I'll try it. Right, passing the turn. They had another land. But with Murktide Regent, Corey Steelcutter, there are things that happen in multiples in their deck that it might be worth interacting with. All right, invest in Tamiyo or try to push. If I try to push, they could waste me back. But I'm going to play Underground Sea and pass. If they fetch, I'm going to push in response. All right, Fatal Push before they can have a land to daze me with. Thundering Falls is in. I would not be excited about Corey Steelcutter. I have Baleful Strix I can put in front of Murktide, and Murktide would be 3/3. Yeah, Cutter's the one I'm worried about. Tough. Do they have the 0 as well? Sure do. Well navigated. The Monk's going in. Getting baubled. I've not actually tested a daze yet. I'm already exposed to Wasteland, so I'm just going to lean in. Baleful Strix on the stack. It's not pretty, but it does trade with 1 Monk and draw a card. Lightning Bolt. Going face, okay. Just betting on that Trample. I don't have to block the one with Trample, though. Yeah, I'll block the 3/3 without Trample. So Lightning Bolt was worth the same 3 damage this turn, but now they don't have a 1/1 for every subsequent turn. I think it was definitely right to bolt the Strix. A Dispute. Right, Undercity Sewer. Fatal Push. I like that card. I'm going to reanimate Strix. This is the play that I was talking about being potentially backbreaking for their deck. Strix is back, and it draws Fatal Push. That's the turn. In life total, in some stress here. Wasteland deployed, wasting my Undercity Sewer. I don't think that's right. And there's reasons to waste an Undercity Sewer. Like, daze, pick it up, dump a reanimation thing later. But with untapped mana on your turn, I don't really believe it. I'm going to Mystical Dispute this Murktide and really hope they don't daze me back, because that will also trigger Cutter. All right, sideboard. Gas, Mystical Dispute. Did it find its target? Yeah, if they had just wastelanded the untapped land, that wouldn't have been possible. Not trying to be an asshole, just pointing out things that are true. Okay, Tamiyo plus Brainstorm. I'm just getting after it. I think if they had a Pyroblast to daze anything of the sort, it would have happened. If they had Lightning Bolt, I think they would have pushed it through the Strix. And none of those things happened, so I'm not going to respect it. Put back Bitter Triumph and Brainstorm. Okay, do I want to go to 6 to reanimate Baleful Strix? Probably. What else is that targeting in this matchup ever again? Nothing. This puts me in double bolt range, but Strix as a blocker plus the Tamiyo buffer mitigates Corey Steelcutter pretty well. This is the turn where I'm stressed about double bolt, but like I said, I don't think they have bolt, at least not right now. Ponder. This is likely to trigger Cutter. Didn't shuffle Ponder. Delver. This triggers Cutter. The Monk will attack as a 1/2. I'll trade Strix for that. Another Wasteland. 1 card left in hand. Monk offering itself up on the altar of Baleful Strix. The Strix has killed 3 things this game. That one sideboard Baleful Strix, just doing the Lord's work. Okay, when and how do I want a Fatal Push? Would I rather Brainstorm or Ponder here? I don't actually want Bitter Triumph in my hand. All right, I'm going to Brainstorm. Okay, Bitter Triumph can go. I don't want to spend a card or life on that anymore. I think Force of Will's kind of mid, given all the other gas in my hand. And Tamiyo could buy back Fatal Push, or she could just plus to the moon. I think I want that Fatal Push back. This lets me jam on Delver and then also jam on the Monk if they trigger their Steel Cutter. A end step fetch, upkeep, Delver sees Pyroblast. Well, I will Fatal Push Delver immediately. Pyroblast can kill Tamiyo, but she's already been worth a card. Just cashing her out in a matchup like this, that's what I'm going for. And I'm going to fetch, puts me to 5. There's another sewer in the deck. I'll take it. I'm looking for Barrogoyf. It's real hard looking for Barrogoyf here. Force of Will, shut up. I don't care about you. Plus Tamiyo. Cast Ponder. Reanimate. Another Reanimate. Am I at draw 2? I have 0, 1, 3, 4, 5. All right, Tainted Indulgence is straight up draw 2. Right, Reanimate, Indulgence, Hydroblast go back. Don't shuffle. If I Thoughtseize them, I die to Bolt, so that won't be happening. I'm going to pass. I could Hydroblast the Quarry Steel Cutter now, but I kind of want them to commit the Pyroblast just to trigger Steel Cutter. Like if they go like Ponder plus Pyroblast, target Tamiyo this turn, trigger Steel Cutter, I can push the Monk, blast the Cutter when they can't make stuff in response. Yep, that's done. This is what we were walking into. Lightning bolting me. Okay, is it better for me to counter the Bolt? All right. I think it's actually better to counter the Bolt in retrospect and just try to tread water versus the Monks. Fatal Push this thing. I'm all the way in here. All right, yeah, just not going dead to Bolt feels good. The straight up draw 2 Tainted Indulgence. No one's ever done this in Magic before. You're witnessing history. And I still have not looked at the card Barrogoyf. All right, do I go into Bolt range for a redraw? Dude, I'm in trouble to so many things. I got to get something going here. I'm going to reanimate my Strix. One more time. I'm prepared to be dead here. But having that same Baleful Strix in play 4 times in the same match is pretty cool. Right, Wasteland's not one of the cards I'm worried about. And it's now my turn again. Draw 2 Indulgence. I'm fully indulging. Right, there's Barrogoyf, but it's late. If I get this Murktide down, I don't care about Quarry Steel Cutter. I have to leave Strix back. It has to block. Okay, yeah, they just had Bolt. That's fine. That was a pretty sweet game. I did go... There are 31 cards left in my deck when I saw the first 4 of Barrogoyf. Like, that's a little bit of a run bad, but I mean, proof of concept on the one of Baleful Strix. That was incredible. All right, do I want one Atraxa in the mix? No, I do not. It's also pretty cool that they just saw me spin my wheels, do nothing, and not play a Barrogoyf, so they don't know if I've juked or not. All right, I'm playing the same deck again. Okay, keep. Barrogoyf is here. Respect him, show him love. Dragon's Rage Channeler versus Tamiyo, the classic legacy battle. I'm going to attack. Cards are worth more than life right now. And I'm going to fetch for basic island. My plan is to draw a card no matter what here. So if they go turbo, I guess I could Petty Theft a Monk. Well, this is my nightmare. If they spend days on Petty Theft to protect their Monk, that is Barrogoyf more likely to resolve. So I actually do like, even though I am just pushing into some extra pain here. They hit the Ponder. That's Delirium as well. But do I actually want to bounce the Monk or the Channeler? I guess it's Channeler. It's bigger, right? But Monk's gone forever. All right, I am going to Petty Theft the Monk. And it didn't get dazed. That could just be patience. It could be they don't have it. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Okay, so something like Fatal Push is a big draw that lets me sculpt a little bit. A Reanimate lets me push Barrogoyf and then just reanimate it next turn if it gets countered. All right, Swamp, Begoyf. Okay, that resolved. I'm leaving Tamiyo. Am I going to block with Tamiyo? I want the option. It depends on if they can clear Barrogoyf or not. If they have Unholy Heat and then a big attack, I might end up blocking. I could at least block the 2/2 Monk. Ponder. Dump to Force of Will. One card too late on that one. We've all been there. Shuffle the library. Love to see it. Barrogoyf has become 5/6 with that instant in the graveyard. They're tapping mana like it's Murktide Regent. Is that what's going on? It is. That triggers Quarry Steel Cutter, takes them off Delirium, and makes Barrogoyf 3/4. A lot of stuff just happened there. All right. If I attack, it would be a trade with Murktide. I think I'll take those chances. If they chump block with anything, I'm happy. If they trade with Murktide, I'm happy. If they take damage, I'm happy. Just, it's a no-loss scenario here. All right, it traded with a Murktide. And then reanimate Barrogoyf. Hell yeah, that's annoying. I love being annoying. And I'll invest the sewer here. It's in my hand, might as well use it. Brainstorm, banger. All right. Pass the turn. No attacks, no plays at all. That's the Barrogoyf effect on Legacy games. I crack my clue to draw Brainstorm. Now the squad is ready to rumble. All right, I will play out this land because I'm likely to use it. Attack with both. If they cast an instant, they get Delirium, but I'm not worried about that because I have the Brainstorm. Instant also makes Barrogoyf 1 point bigger, and every life point could matter, so I'm going to Brainstorm before damage here. Pyroblast targeting Tamiyo in response. I guess I'll draw with my clue. This could also hit Brainstorm. Or to hit Barrogoyf. Not mad about that. Okay, Barrogoyf becomes 5/6. Choose up this Monk. Shitload of Barrogoyfs in my hand. Am I done Tamiyoing? Am I willing to shove Murktide Regent into Daze? Probably yes to all. All right, I'm going to put back Tamiyo and this extra land. I'll gain my 5 from Barrogoyf. Lightning Bolt finishes off Barrogoyf. Oh no, what will I do about that? Okay, now they've cast 2 spells this turn, which means I'm not even... There's not even extra tension on casting this Murktide. Like if they do have the Daze or the Pyroblast, then they have Daze or Pyroblast, whatever. Right, sorcery, instant. 1, 2, 3. I'll leave land creature in my graveyard. And I have a 5/5 in front of their squad at 19 life, with 2 Barrogoyfs in my hand. And Brazen Borrower still in exile. Okay, they've got a Pyroblast. That's one of the good cards they could have. They get a big swing this turn. Can they trigger a Steel Cutter for the extra big swing? No, that's a big miss. So what's in their hand then? It must be reactive spells. Do they have force? Doesn't look like it. Another Barrogoyf involved. I can Petty Theft this Monk or a Murktide if they drop one. Preordain. Dumping Wasteland. Bottom. Dragon's Rage Channeler triggers Quarry Steel Cutter. Barrogoyf's back up to 5/6 after all that. Channeler has to fight. The ground creatures don't, which is good news for them because they're not very good at fighting Barrogoyf. I'm going to go for an end-step Petty Theft on one of the monks. I plan on using all of my mana for most of the rest of the game and casting spells on turns where they're already through combat or they've already triggered Quarry Steel are both upside. A Barrogoyf attack for 5. I go to 15. Then I'll play another one. How do I die here? If I go to 12 reanimating the other Barrogoyf, they have 6 flying in play right now. They can make it 7 by equipping. If they play Murktide, it could be a 9/9, or let's see, 1, 2, or if they leave the sorcery, 1, 2, 3, 4. They only have 4 spells in the graveyard, and that would cost them Delirium if they ate them all. The maximum output, if they keep Delirium, 1, 2, that's a 5, 6, 12. It is actually exactly lethal if I reanimate Barrogoyf and they play Murktide while holding up Delirium. Oh, I'm going to Brainstorm here, see if I could find Fatal Push or Hydroblast instead of casting Reanimate. Oh god, that's a lot of Thoughtseizes. I don't want any of those. I am going to pass the turn. I don't think I can lose a game where 2 Barrogoyfs are active, but I might lose a game if I go to 12. Right, they binned Brazen Borrower. That means they've given up on trying to contain my Barrogoyfs. That's not their plan. And we didn't die to a hasty Murktide at the end. Yeah, that endless stream of Barrogoyfs, the value reanimates post board. That's so nice. 4 Baleful Strixes in game 2. It wasn't good enough because I couldn't gain any life along the way, but that was sweet. And then access to all these Barrogoyfs. Cool. All right. Beating this deck is important, and so far I haven't lost to it in any of my testing. That's a good sign. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round, positive records lock, playing for the bread and butter 401. Do I think Tamiyo is good enough to keep a hand on? Like, this is a little different than it looks. Like, normally, or in the past, you wouldn't want Atraxa in your hand ever. But Atraxa in my hand does enable every looter in the deck. I think I could do better than this hand, but I did want to talk through it, of course. Okay. Atraxa is a blue card. I'm going to keep this, and I can keep Atraxa as a blue card. I think I'm actually bottoming Animate Dead here. That leaves me the option to loot away the Archon after pitching Atraxa to Force. Opponent's on 6. I am, of course, just leading on Tamiyo. It's not the prettiest hand I've ever seen, but a Brainstorm or Ponder or second land, I'll set it off. You've got a Tamiyo. Is this a game I want to play? I'm actually going to commit to this fight, force pitching Atraxa, which also tells them I'm a combo deck. But if I have Tamiyo and you don't, that's a lot of good news for me. Land? Another Atraxa. Well, it's just getting worse. Should I animate there, Tamiyo, so I have 2? That's just better, right? Okay. Now we're in the danger zone. Come on. Who has 2 of those? Nobody. They do only have 1 land, though. But so do I. All right, what else is going on over there? Show me your moves. Maybe this Thoughtseize is supposed to target me. Oh my god, it's the mirror match. That's terrifying. I'm going to take their Brainstorm, because that's obviously the best card in this hand. And, well, I'm glad I didn't loot anything away recklessly. But we're both kind of in garbage mode here. At least I have 2 colors of mana. Oh no. They broke out of it first. Bad news, danger, danger. Well, I have another Force. But that won't beat the endless stream of cards that my opponent likely represents here. All right. Are they prioritizing draw a card or surveil? Draw a card. I too would prioritize that. And we're at the point right now, in the format at least, I don't know what things are going to look like in a bunch of weeks when you actually see this video, but right now while I'm testing, we're at the point where the Reanimator shell is not solved. Oh, I don't know if my opponent has Careful Studies or Barrogoyfs or what. All right, Tainted Indulgence, that can resolve. I kind of hope they do discard a monster. Discard an Animate Dead. Yeah, they did it right. And now their Tamiyo is active, and mine is an idiot. They fetch for Underground Sea. Play a new Tamiyo? Or do we have Thoughtseize? We have Thoughtseize. I'm going to force that pitching Atraxa, because I can't afford to lose my Reanimate. It's the only thing even pretending to be playing this game right now. Oh my god. The bad news here, though, and there's lots of it, don't worry, is that they can buy back Thoughtseize with Tamiyo, Thoughtseize my Archon, and then reanimate it all just face up. That's just on the board. We know it's happening. Okay, they've decided to plus Tamiyo instead. That's a small saving grace. Brainstorm. It's weird that I'm excited about that. I'm still insanely cooked here, but they could have cooked me even more brutally and embarrassingly. They've hit a lot of land drops. I'm going to start cracking clues. I have basically 1 turn cycle to get anything going. Murktide actually doesn't work because I only have 4 cards in my graveyard. That would have been something that could have potentially threatened the Tamiyo, but we know they've got a Brazen Borrower as well, so they're not actually threatened by anything. If they jump this Brazen Borrower out to eat my Tamiyo, that's a Borrower that won't bounce my Archon of Cruelty. but I don't think they should do anything that doesn't immediately threaten Tamiyo. Gonna crack a clue. Another Tamiyo. I think I'm out of draws here. Like, if there was some sequence of Thoughtseize and Reanimate that I could put together to take a monster out of their hand and jam it from their graveyard, that might have been a way. But not like this. That draw of clue needed to be the land or the Thoughtseize to start threading that together. Tainted Indulgence resolves. Discarded the Reanimate. Plus the Tamiyo. What can I even hit here? Brainstorm into Thoughtseize Reanimate? That's not it. I am on no outs at all here. All right. We do not have to keep playing. Okay. Now, I don't play Graveyard Hate. So what do I do with that information? I don't think I want to be trying to reanimate into the mirror match. Mystical Dispute, Brazen Borrower, these are good. I do like Thoughtseize. I do like having some value reanimates left, especially if they stay on it. Force of Negation is actually really bad. I'd rather have Reanimate in my deck than Force of Negation. And just go bad Dimir tempo with no Graveyard Hate. All right, let's try it. I'm actually going to cut a Reanimate for an Explosives right at the last second, because if they get a Tamiyo ahead of mine, that gives me another out to it. We'll be mulling this no-lander. I will be keeping this one-lander and bottoming one of these 1,000 Barrogoyfs. I think I am going to fetch basic Island here, because that does cast the 2 important spells in my hand while playing around Wasteland. Island, Tamiyo, Fatal Push, Brutal. That's all right. If I Brainstorm or draw, like if I find a Black Source this turn, I can reanimate that Tamiyo and we're back in. Brainstorm, please don't fail me. It didn't fail me. I think I'm going to put back one of the Barrogoyfs and one of the Brainstorms, and I can take this opportunity to Thoughtseize my opponent. See what they're working with. Maybe get a glimpse at that sideboard plan. And the next turn I can reanimate Tamiyo, Brainstorm all at once. Days, okay. That's not a card that I have. Good to know. Underground Sea. And Thoughtseize me back. All right, all the cards in my hand are pretty good. I would probably take Brainstorm from this hand. They took a Reanimate. I guess if they're trying to set up a Reanimate, that makes sense. Me drawing land here, getting Barrogoyf ripping would be great. Shit. I'm going to ponder that Seize cards in a straighter line. Okay. Do I want access to Bitter Triumph? Well, I want the land. And Bitter Triumph's on top of my deck, so if I end up needing that, I have access to it. If I don't, I don't. My opponent knows my whole hand right now, but they also know I can change it. Brainstorm, Polluted Delta. I think I'm going to get the Sewer here and try to mix this up. A land that lets me play around Days. Okay, I'll take it. That takes one embarrassing outcome off the table. If they force this, I'll take it. Okay, Force Pitching, Katara, Waterbending Master. Okay, so they're doing this shit. This is one of the cards that I mentioned. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, get experience, and when Katara attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do, discard a card. So this is a draw engine of sorts. If you resolve a 2-drop and then cast spells in your opponent's turn and then get to attack with it, it's just asking a lot, which is why I'm not that big on it here. If my opponent reanimates one of my Goyfs, I have a bunch of Brazen Borrowers in the deck to try to snag it back. Taking Barrogoyf and Tamiyo. Okay. That means they can't Brainstorm, or I get Tamiyo. Like, these are all my toys. I am going to fetch Surveil in the end step. I want as many looks in a straight line as possible. Thoughtseize, no thanks, you're not helping anymore. Big Rips, Brazen Borrower, Thoughtseize. I just said I don't like you. Tainted Indulgence. Bad news, everyone. We're starting to struggle a bit here. So Thoughtseize, Brainstorm go back. Tainted Indulgence. We'll draw those 2 cards, discard the Thoughtseize. And then I think I just Underground Sea pass. Yeah, getting hit with my own Barrogoyf hurts. But it being my own Barrogoyf is exciting. Tamiyo is only good for the clues here, but the clues are obviously really good. Barrogoyf trigger for 3, converted into Orcish Bowmaster. God damn. All right, that specifically punishes my hand and they know it. But if they crack the clue, then that shield is down. We are going to play a game of chicken, but it's a game of chicken where they have a Barrowgoyf. All right, well, I'll get the Brainstorm out then. I have a Barrowgoyf now too. Good news. All right, I will... Do I want to cast this Brainstorm again? Might as well, right? I'm not going to cast it once that Barrowgoyf's in play. Hey, these are all good cards. All right, I'm going to draw Barrowgoyf and play it around Daze, and then Fatal Push is on top of my deck. And their Barrowgoyf's actually connecting, and mine isn't. Like, I don't want to trade Goyfs here. Yeah, that one turn, like, if these are the cards I saw last turn, the game would be close, but that turn where their Barrowgoyf got to connect and got to hit a good creature, it does spiral out fast. Brutal. Alright, I can never win this game now. I know my top card is Fatal Push. Okay, so I got beat by the lower to the ground version of my own deck. I'm trying to play a little slower, a little more stable. They've got Dazes and Kataras and stuff. And Katara was an absolute zero. It was just blue for force. But the Daze actually did matter. Orcish Bowmaster, I continue to get punished by that card in all the leagues that I play every time I run into it. So I should probably start thinking about that one a little more. Positive record, still not like, holy shit, this is it. But I feel like I'm dialing in on things that are closer and better to where I want to be. I think there might be too many monsters in the deck. It's really bad to have a Reanimate and not a monster. That's like you're just down cards. But also, it's bad to have a non-functional deck because your deck is laden with garbage. Right, I'm going to think about Orcish Bowmaster and if I can play one and where I would put it. I'm going to think about the monster count. I didn't really have problems putting monsters into graveyards. And there is still room to go 5 and 5, like 5 monsters, 5 reanimates. I could open up 2 slots to play medium-sized magic in the main deck, which does make game ones worse, but it's not like I was just winning every game one anyway. This is a fun puzzle to think about. Very different than what I normally do of play a completely different deck every day and only broad thoughts. Now I've played the same deck 4 or 5 times on the channel and I have only hyper-specific thoughts. I'm going to leave this one here though. There might be more coming. This has been Reanimator from Patreon subscriber John. Everyone, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.